Hey, what's happening, guys? Sorry for the handheld, but we're out here in the kitchen where I've got the Raspberry Pi 400. And I've been playing with it, and I enjoy it, but there's one thing on this thing that I do not like. And that is this expansion port back here. You can see it's kind of hidden under there, and there's no labels. So if I want to do something, I've got to, look up the pin numbers, count them from top to bottom, left to right. It's just not great. Let's see if we can do something about that. Today's video is brought to you by PCBWay. PCB prototype the easy way. Hey, check this out. They have a 10% off on their 3D printing in CNC right now. And for their 3D printing, you can get stereolithography, which is, I believe, the liquid. DLP, also the liquid. FDM, I believe, is the where you melt the filament. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. 10% off. And if you don't have a 3D printer and there's something you want 3D printed, I highly recommend you check them out. PCBWay. So looking at this, we can see that the GPIO header has pin 1, as we're looking at the back of the 400, in the upper right, and pin 40 in the lower left. Whoops. That was the wrong button, wasn't it? That's what I wanted, was this pin out here. So I can have a look at it, and we can put something together. Alright, so here's my super simple idea. Two 40-pin connectors connected together. Lay it out in a board that's about 4 inches by 2 inches, somewhere in that area. And we end up with this. The Raspberry Pi 400 interface adapter by learnelectronics. So this lower part you're going to plug into the Raspberry Pi, and this is going to basically reverse. I'm using hand gestures like you can actually see what I'm doing. It's going to reverse the direction so the pins are now facing you, and it's going to bring it above the board so you can see it, and they're labeled. So these are all very good things. Alright, I am going to draw this up. Well, I already drew it up. I'm going to order this from PCBWay, and we'll be back in about a week. So it took exactly 5 days to get these back from PCBWay, which is incredible. I ordered 10 of them. For some reason I got 11, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11. It must have been the end of the panel they were making. So as you can see, I got them in red. And I ordered the extra thick 2mm. Because, this is going to, I don't want us to have any flex because we're going to be plugging stuff in up here. So I am going to solder these header pins in, and we'll be ready to go. Not every project in electronics has to be inventing the transistor. Sometimes you just need an adapter. Alright, let me get this soldered up here real quick. While I'm doing that, I can tell you a story. Back when I was going through Navy boot camp in San Diego, California, in, what was that, late 88. Yeah, I went in December of 88. Oh, shit. That didn't work right. Give me a second here, folks. There we go. All right. Hopefully that's better. Okay, December of 88. I believe boot camp was 12 weeks back then. And somewhere towards the middle of that period, we had our water survival and training stuff. Basically, you had to prove to the Navy you could swim. I mean, why would you join the Navy if you couldn't swim? Well, turns out a surprising number of people can't swim. Now, that just seems ludicrous to me because I could swim since I was a child. But I guess, as my friend B-Blood pointed out, it might be a geographical thing. You know, if you didn't grow up around any bodies of water or have access to a swimming pool, then maybe learning to swim wasn't a big deal for you. When I was about 6 years old, my parents took me to the YMCA where they had a pool and swimming lessons, and they paid to, get me swimming lessons because neither one of them can swim. In fact, my mother hates water. And she especially hates bridges. To me, water's always just been a natural part of my life. I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, yeah, sure, I fear the ocean, but I could stay afloat for a while. Anyway, so the swimming test, the basic swimming test you had to pass to get out of boot camp and, move on with your naval career. They had an Olympic-sized pool, which is like 50 meters or something like that. You had to jump off this 4-meter platform, which is about, 14, 15 feet. You're fully dressed, by the way, in your dungarees, your navy blues. Jump into the pool, swim down, swim up, swim down on your back, and float until one of the instructors tapped you with one of these giant poles they had. And they explained all this very clearly. And they said, if you get into distress, do not worry. We will, pass you the pole, grab onto the pole, and we'll pull you to safety. Do not attempt to climb the pole. Now, I believe there were 160 or so people in my company. And I'm going to say, and of course I'm guessing this was a long time ago, I'm going to say maybe 25% of them could not swim. And some of them jumped off the platform and sank directly to the bottom. And true to their word, the instructors would pass them the long pole, and they would try and climb up the pole. And the instructor would say, "Oh, you want the pole?" and drop it. Now, we had rescue swimmers in the water as well, so they were no real danger. But, the basic point of boot camp was to teach you to follow instructions, and to follow instructions even when you're, feeling stressed out or, scared or whatever. So if you didn't pass then, you got to spend your, what was called service week, where everybody got to do a job for a week. You got to spend your service week learning how to swim, which, not a bad idea. I spent my service week as a courier with a little pouch, and I just walked all over the base, handing out people's paperwork. And I just learned this year that Naval Training Center San Diego is no more. It's now a shopping destination called Liberty something. Liberty Village, maybe? That blows my mind. I wonder if Great Lakes, the Chicago location, is still open. When I went in, there were 3 places you could go to boot camp. Chicago, Great Lakes, they called it. San Diego, or if you were a female or a male who was going to study nuclear power and propulsion, nuclear power and propulsion, you went to Orlando, Florida. I cut that too short. Sorry, I know that's not in frame. All right, let's see what I can do here. Come on. Get in the hole. Good. All right. So I'm just going to do one of these at a time now, instead of doing them both at the same time. Now, after our swimming test was over, we were visited by the SEALs, because they trained on Coronado Island right there off San Diego. And in fact, sometime I will tell you about Marching Party, which is where you got to go spend an afternoon with the SEALs, or an evening. That wasn't fun. Anyway, they came and they're like, and is anybody here interested in special warfare? Most people have their jobs, picked out by the time they get to boot camp. But some people, they did. So the instructor says, or the SEAL says, everybody in the pool who wants to be tested for special warfare. So we had like 4 guys jump in the pool. And they're like, he says, okay, just start swimming back and forth. Don't stop. And I think we sat there for probably about an hour watching these 4 guys swim. And they all gave up and they all quit eventually. And finally somebody asked one of the SEALs, they said, how long do we have to go? And the SEAL said, till you couldn't move anymore. The idea was to find out who would not quit. And since all 4 of our guys quit, none of them were, no crap. That one's too short too. None of them were basically, SEAL material. It's interesting. Just one of my interesting boot camp stories. All right, I'll tell you about Marching Party now too, so since this has taken longer than I had planned. If you screwed up in any way in boot camp, like at the beginning of boot camp, you were given 2 pieces of paper that you had to carry in your pocket at all times. They were called chits. And if another company commander caught you doing something you weren't supposed to be doing, like if there were less than 3 people traveling together, you had to run everywhere you went. So like if there were 1 or 2 of you and you got caught walking somewhere, ooh, buddy, somebody would ask for your chit, which had your name on it and your company, and they would write, I'm like an idiot today. They would write what your offense was on it and put it in your company commander's mail, and it would get back to them. And then you would get in trouble. And in the case of San Diego boot camp, you got to go to Marching Party after dinner, which was where you went to Coronado Island to do exercises and calisthenics with the Navy SEALs. Now, you guys have been following me for a while. You know my birthday's in January. And I just told you the boot camp lasted 3 months. And I went in December. So I was at boot camp over Christmas and my birthday. No big deal. Except the company commander, one of our company commanders, I think it was Petty Officer Spencer. He realized it was my birthday that day. And he called me up. And he said, so it's your birthday, is it, recruit? I'm like, yeah. When I say, yep. I said, yes, company commander, or yes, Petty Officer Spencer. And he's like, okay. Well, got to have a birthday party. And as soon as I heard the word party, I knew what it was. It was Marching Party. And after dinner, after chow, off to Coronado I went for the next 4 hours to roll around in the sand with the SEALs. And I think they got a kick out of it. We did not, because we had been up since 4 a.m. That was our wake-up time. And had been going, full tilt all day long. So after dinner was generally when we had like 2 hours to kind of study up anything we needed to study, polish your boots, all that kind of stuff. Not go full hog, workout with the SEALs in the sand. But that's what I did on my birthday, 1989. I played with the SEALs. Okay, so I think she's ready. And down there bottom you can see where it says plug into Pi interface. So that's the part that goes into the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to need both hands to do this. Give me 1 second. Okay, plugged in easily, which is always good. Now if you'll notice here, I've got 2 male jumpers up here in the 5-volt and ground positions. And the reason for that is to give this thing a simple test, make sure I lined everything up properly. If I can get 5 volts off those 2 pins, then we're good to go. Okay, this might be more difficult than I had imagined. All right, I had to put it in hold because I can't, I need 2 hands to hold those on there. But we are getting 5.11 volts, which is 5 volts, which means I got everything lined up correctly. So now I can see with the labels and I don't have to reach around the back. So I think that's pretty cool. If you guys enjoyed this video, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. Feel free to comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Big thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video, and a big thanks to you for watching this video. That's it. I'm out. Peace.